Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ladies. It's me, Duke CT, in a special podcast review of Zack Snyder's Justice League. Since that's been brought back,
Did you say Jack Snyder?
I said Zack Snyder, Zack.
Oh, okay.
That's Jack Snyder's like his Earth 3 counterpart. So he's that
Oh,
dude's doing like he's
oh
part of
yeah,
the MCU.
he's an insurance salesman.
Yes. Anyway, since the Zack Snyder cut has reinvigorated the whole DC universe, I actually have reinvigorated Skype and such because Discord doesn't want to do anything these days to bring back a person who has been on my show multiple times. Introduce yourself, my good sir.
Hi, I'm Jeff. I go usually by Writersblok, and uh, thanks for having me here.
No problem. Wow, this movie, this whole event. I have a lot of thoughts on it, and I watched it. Me and my dad watched it. Um, uh, I plan to watch it again probably this week as well because I honestly think it's probably one of the most ambitious type of things you can a story you can actually do in this with the superheroes thing. I mean, it to me, I'm like, okay, this to me screams an event, and I was like, man, I was really impressed by it. So, what are your thoughts about when you first, um, your first like, okay, you heard it, saw it, your main opinions on the writer's block?
Like just on the movie in general.
Yeah, the movie in general.
Uh, it was okay.
Hmm.
Um, I thought it was okay. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. I thought it was okay. That's basically like a one sentence review of it. I mean, more, uh, uh, I do have more in depth thought about it, but I mean, if I had to sum up, I would just say it's okay.
Hmm. I honestly think, to me, in my personal opinion, it's better than I think. I think it's probably one of the best, superhero movies I've seen in a long while. I thought is actually better than, I think it's not as great as people say. It's like right up to end. I'm like, no, it's not end game level. I think it's past. Say, if I was gonna do like a huge group superhero ranking, I would say it's past like Avengers, Age of Ultron, and a little bit past the original Avengers as well, and maybe it's just recency thing because I need to see it again more times. But yeah, I think there's a lot. I think to me there was a lot of good things about it, and there's a lot of things that really I honestly wish that more superheroes stories could do. And it had, and there, I honestly there was some wasteful stuff on there. But yeah,
It That's a 4 hour. It's a 4 hour movie. There's going to be stuff that they really should have trimmed.
oh yeah, I want to get right into it. The 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 women singing after Aquaman leaves the first time. I'm like, you could have just cut that, Zach. I'm just saying.
I they could have. They could have also not had one of them smelling his garments before he left.
It's a little. I was like
I mean,
freaky.
I get it. It's Jason Momoa. I mean, not my. I mean, it's not my. He's not my. Cup of tea. Yeah, I mean, I don't dig him like that. But hey,
Yeah, but I'm
I can
like,
admit he's a handsome guy, but still.
yeah, I'm like, okay, you didn't like you sing. I'm like, okay, why are you crying over him? You know he's gonna come back. He comes back later after he saves like some dude, that sailor, and have him pay
Yeah.
for all the drinks and such, which is a fair trade, my personal opinion.
Hmm. Yeah. He comes back in like this. Just chucks the guy in there. And, um, yeah, it's yeah, that I'm not too. Yeah, that one I was a little puzzled by. I mean, I'm guessing it has something to do with like him being a mythic figure that walks among them, I suppose.
Yeah, and that was the story I think they were trying to tell with these characters, that these are not like, okay, random people and such. These are like huge, like gods. And when I look and see what, you know, Batman and such, he just seems like he's the only guy. I honestly think a lot of the acting has been, especially Ben Affleck. His character, it's really legitimately day and night with him, including a lot of characters. But the way he portrays trying to get this group together in this whole cut seems more. He's like more of trying to be that leader that he wants to be, because he seems like he has made this terrible mistake, um, killing off. He is the main one responsible, killing Superman, the world's biggest defender in this situation, in this whole thing, and then he calls down Steppenwolf, one of the generals of Darkseid, and he feels like it is he led this thing. He made this. He was the he's like, I caused this after the events of Batman v Superman, which this movie starts off after, you know, and I love that movie, but I'm like, why couldn't it just had, instead of Dark's not no but gosh, it's not Darkseid. um
Steppenwolf,
no, stop. I'm talking about the dude who killed Superman.
Doomsday.
Doomsday, yes. It should have been Metallo. They already had it set up. They should have just had that Metallo be the one to take down Superman with the kryptonite, and then have Bats and Wonder Woman try to take him down and such. Oh,
Well, it
yeah,
the thing is that it's comic book correlation, even if it doesn't make sense in the narrative.
yeah,
Because in the comics, Doomsday killed Superman, so therefore they feel only Doomsday should kill Superman.
yeah. I do, but it is,
It,
you know,
but again, like it didn't quite make sense for them to raise it to that level. And if I may go on a slight tangent,
go ahead.
I think they kind of escalate the threats a little too quickly for for like, especially in the Snyder movies. I think they kind of escalate the threats a little too quickly. Like you have a Superman who just learned how to use his powers, even though he's been on Earth for, you know his entire life, against highly skilled military, alien invaders, who, while not quite at his power level, compensate that with years and years of military training. So it's kind of like it's kind of like you're asking a level 1 sorcerer to take on a level 15 necromancer.
Yeah, and I think, well, um, I think that is something they should have saved. But Zod, it is one of the most biggest Superman characters there. I feel like if a guy, I don't know what you do for the first movie if you really had like, okay, if he did like, personally, I would have had like, say, Toymaker or something like Intergang. I think that would have been an easier way to build things up. Then you
Yeah,
get Zod,
yeah,
and then you have
you kind of have
Batman.
to scale. Yeah, you kind of have to scale these things reasonably.
Yeah, and and also you can still have the threats of the military thing as well, because Superman again, and that's the whole thing. Okay, Super's like, wow, I just there's no real thing that can hurt him, but imagine someone who is strong, as just not as strong as you, but has that military type of you know training. It's like that
Hmm.
makes him more of a threat, and him trying to protect everyone. And also, you could easily set that up as well, because Batman, for this characterization of Batman, who has been through the ringer, he has done everything with God, tried everything to save Gotham, all of it, everything. His vigilantism, the Jokers, the Two Faces, and everything else. In fact, one of them lines he says like, "We've been doing this for 20 years out there. How many people have said they started off good and they stayed that way?" and he just seems that nothing what he can do, and then he sees Superman, this ultra powerful being that can be this threat, and he's blinded by what Lex Luthor, the worst Lex Luthor in the entire. I think he's probably one of the
They
worst.
they really dropped the ball on that Lex. They really
I, I,
did.
I just, the idea of him being this plucky young person, I like the idea of it, but he was more Riddler than actual Luthor. I wanted to
Mm.
see if if it was like Michael Rosenbaum, someone like that young Luthor from Smallville, who you can say you can kind of root for, but you can't root for because eventually he'd just be like, yeah, I like you, but man, you make some
What
horrible
about
decisions.
say like Michael Fassbender, someone who has like just endless charisma,
Yes, the charisma.
who has like a real screen presence to him, uh, and having him be that, like, having him actually be what, guys like Elon Musk wish they were.
Yeah, I think that could
You
have
know,
been.
yeah, like
Um,
have him be like a dark mirror reflection of either Bruce or even say Tony Stark.
yeah, and that honestly, speaking of Tony Stark and everything, the one thing I like about the Justice League is that it introduced the consequences of what Batman did, and he realized that I made this horrible mistake. All of this stuff have led towards this, and
Well,
death.
let's be honest here. He vastly overreacted.
Yeah, and he's that's because he was in despair. He just thinks that he thought after everything he's done, nothing really changed. He had no hope left, and he's like, if I take down this monster, he thought so. He built it up so much to the
Mm-hmm.
point that if I take this would be the one thing the Waynes, like his family, and everything else, because he just sees like I'm older now than my father ever was. He wanted to just like he was going like Arthur said, yeah, I'm going to die. He was going to die. I guess he had. I believe he was going to pretty much like I'm going to face this man, this powerful being to kill him and die as well. Because this is probably the only thing I'm good for because Gotham has failed. Everything has fallen. What am I to do? What am I? What's my purpose? You know, that's the thing with
Well,
it.
well, apparently he thought his purpose was to freak out over the mention of his mother. So,
I think that was the one thing everyone's memed on this, but I honestly think it just made him like Cinnamon Wins actually talked about this in one of his first videos I saw. I was like, it's like thank you. He said the reason why because he didn't think someone like Superman had any type of humanity, even though the entire film shows that he's trying to be the best human, doing all the stuff he can do.
mm-hmm.
And like Batman does not have it, but yeah, he says he is doing humanity. But he says why did you say that? And why did you say the name of someone like that? Means he has a mother. That means and then he's like, I made a horrific mistake, and
Well,
that's
it, go ahead and finish.
oh yeah, that's what it is. He made a horrific mistake, and after
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
go ahead. Go ahead. You
But
finish
I've
your thought.
just said, and then in just this movie, it's all. I mean, he has this, finding the people around him, trying to get Aquaman, Flash, and all the stuff. He has in the character. I think, this Snyder It shows that what he actually starts. This is the Batman. He has something that he never had is that hope. He had hope in this, and that's what he really looked towards into. That's what it is, ladies and gentlemen. Is Batman had hope for the first time in this whole thing, and I love that because even if, even um, even when you look at what's the character has gone through and the stuff we haven't seen, heck, he lost his Robin because of Joker, all this other stuff, is that it's just been so tough on him, so mentally draining, and he's like, there's no real way to um to really have that, like, what is his point? What is his um what is his entire, like, I find like he finally gets something. He has something to fight for. It's like for his first time, he finally has something to fight for. And this um in this whole in this whole thing, it just seems that when you look at what Batman went through this whole arc, and I think that when you look at Batman and him growing, and hopefully as to continue it on, is that he has hope again, and maybe things can be better. Because even if you are so just so like, I'm focused on this one thing, he sees nothing but the failures and such. His ways, his training, his gadgets, his money, all of it. He has tried doing everything, and guess what? It didn't work out. You're back.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. I did basically get soliloquy. Basically, saying that Batman needed, he lost, 20 plus years in Gotham. All of his gadgets, money, everything he has thrown into this whole vigilante project has bitten him in the butt, and that's why he's lost faith. Now he's realizing this whole group. You see it throughout the film that he has that renewed hope again. He has that, like, maybe things can be better.
I can. There is a definite character turnaround from Bruce Wayne in Justice League, from Bruce Wayne in Batman v Superman. Although I would also probably say that he has a problem that's pretty common in a meta sense, and that's that people tend to focus too much on the super sometimes, and not enough on the man. To realize that, like, this guy is, it's like, this guy has to, it's like, it's like he has this notion that someone with that amount of power and those kinds of abilities wouldn't think to have, like, his own life or, like, his own free time, which coincidentally enough, in the comics, most of the time Lex Luthor himself doesn't even think of that, because he thinks, like, he would think, like, why would anyone with these kinds of powers, with the abilities of a god, sully himself to things like like a day job, or a secret identity, or a private life or something. So I think it's a profound misunderstanding on his part. Although it doesn't help that Superman in that movie tended to be a little bit thick-headed, and
Well,
and
yeah, it also, I think he's preoccupied with being. He has a lot of things on his plate. He has Lois, who, one thing I liked about Man of Steel is that Lois actually figured out who Superman was. Actually,
hmm
like, being a reporter and journalist, like, we told that, oh, she's a smart journalist, and yet it took how long before she figured out that, oh, Superman and, Clark Kent and Superman are the same person. It just
that's
doesn't.
well, that you can blame on editorial not having any original ideas for, like, the first 50 years of Superman.
Yeah, but I do like that. I do like the fact that the character, and they actually pursue a
hmm
relationship, and
Yeah,
I really, really hope that really wasn't Jimmy Olsen that got killed, the CIA agent, because I think
I
that was like, I
that
don't think
yeah that's stupid.
no,
That
just pick.
that
I know, I'm not
yeah.
asking him to turn to a turtle man or whatever, which would just not fit at all, but just have him be the gopher as what he was, and I don't know what you can do with him. I know the crazy stuff they did in the comics with him. I mean, one of the things I did in the DC when I had DC Universe app was actually read all the stuff that he got into. I'm like,
Hmm.
ooh, maybe it's best that the Black Jimmy Olsen didn't go through that. Like the Supergirl one, I'm like,
Yeah,
hope
yeah.
thank goodness he didn't turn to like a turtle or whatever. That's actually a good thing.
No, I
So
think no, I think the only thing that happened is he became Guardian. That's it.
yeah, and that's I think that's a step up. Oh
Yeah,
gosh, yeah,
but
but
back to
yeah,
the back
but
to
yeah,
Justice League.
yeah, but back to Justice League. What other when you look at the performances? What was your one the best? Like we watched the Josh Whedon one, the this one. Which one actually said, okay, this was a marked improvement?
Well, I would probably say, and this is basically in a general filmmaking standpoint. Uh, the Snyder cut is superior to the Whedon cut on a technical and filmmaking standpoint. But with this caveat, Whedon was working with a patchwork of what Snyder had already done, and he was basically putting in his own parts. It was kind of this weird, mediocre Frankenstein's creation of a film, which while which while I thought was just meh, I mean it it was well below what the first Justice League movie should be. I mean,
Oh,
for
but
if you're going to debut the
I never
Justice
saw
League
it as
on as a blockbuster movie, you gotta do better than just meh.
Mm-hmm. And
So
that's it. Just like okay, they got the guy from Avengers and just said, do the Avengers up Justice League, which I just think they shouldn't have done that. I think at best, this was going to be a two-part movie and build up around it because when you look at what they were planning to do, I honestly would love to saw that. And seeing what I saw, you know, one of the best perform. I think everyone did a very good job in the performance. Every the main characters, including Steppenwolf. I liked even though the armor was a bit busy. I liked actually there was a point to him coming to it instead of just being, oh, there's no one here, would just be a conqueror. Then he realizes that Earth holds the anti-life equation because of course it does. Um, but yeah, and
they
and
they did flesh him out some more. They did flesh him out some more, especially his motivations and the reason why he was there. Um, I mean, I still don't care for him. I, I still really didn't care for him. I don't know. He just didn't do it for me. But
well,
they did beef him up a little bit. Although I would say a couple of his conversations with Desaad didn't really need to be there. But
well, yeah. Some of them, I think, the main one, I actually got a big chuckle. Was that you found out the reason why he's on this stuff is because, you screwed up so badly. You betrayed us, but no, we didn't. We're not going to take you out. No, you're going to be serving, doing this like 100 deeds of Eddie McDowell type of stuff. If you don't conquer like 50,000 plus worlds, you're not going to be welcome back to to Apocalypse or whatever. And even then,
yeah.
it just came back that like meetings like even if you do that, we might not even welcome you back. We might just say, no, 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 no. Oh, 50. Oh, you got 50,000. Oh, we're gonna add another couple, like an extra 100,000 worlds just because. No,
Hmm.
man. That's what I just feel like with them. What they would probably do.
No, they're just a bunch. I mean, it's Desaad and Darkseid. They're a bunch of pricks. So
Yeah, and I but just like when you first saw that then Darkseid, her, I bet during those conversations, I bet Darkseid was like sitting there listening, and then you heard that all the anti-life is here. I was like, hey, just get off the phone. Oh, so okay, if the anti-life equation is there, all right, okay, and it says good. So I'm gonna once you take this thing over, I'm gonna be there personally and everything. So I like that, and also I love the pre-fight thing as I
mhm.
think was it Urax as before he was called Darkseid. Um, they had this huge battle, and people were angry, like, oh, you can't have Darkseid. I'm like, do you know what type of force they had? They had, Atlanteans,
Yeah, the Atlanteans, they had
uh,
Amazons, gods,
gods, men, all
men.
angry lanterns, all that
Well,
stuff.
a Green Lantern, but yeah,
Yeah, but you know.
yeah.
So
Um,
yeah, I understand. So they beat him enough to push him back, and it was a
yeah,
hard fought victory, though. That's what
yeah,
you know.
yeah, and that was basically everything they had. I mean, when you're getting your ass roasted by Zeus, uh, you're gonna feel it.
Exactly. Um,
Um,
Go ahead.
uh, well, I mean, are you talking? You were saying like people were complaining about Darkseid like getting into the fight, and I mean,
Yeah, he
it's
got cut. Like,
it's not that. Well, the thing is, it's not that Darkseid doesn't ever get his hands dirty. It's just that they've had him do it more often now, to where they've kind of lost sight of him being a master manipulator. On top of that, it's like it's one of those things where he likes to let other people do the dirty work first, and then when he personally gets involved and starts flexing his muscles, you realize how completely and utterly fucked you are.
exactly. That's what it is. It usually he doesn't send himself to these things, and I thought we were going to get something like that at the end, but we'll get to that later. Um, One thing I did like about the movie, I believe, is probably cyborgs. Just it
Yeah,
made it was like,
the cyborg arc was a vast improvement. It was very engaging, and Ray Fisher did a very good job.
yeah. Even though he's probably not going to, well, with his whole, Academy Entertainment stuff, not just on Twitter, but all social media, and just going to, going, fighting against the powers that be. He probably, some would say he destroyed his career, but I'm like, sometimes you must, if it's a wrong that needs to be righted, it's going to take a bit of pushback.
Well,
But if
I
you,
I'd say give him a chance.
yeah, I should.
Give him a chance. He could very well turn it around.
Yeah, I hopefully get Cyborg or someone else again because I think he is very talented, and the
Hmm.
scenes I liked about him, you know, and just him going through the whole process, and I like the fact they put more of like the comic book origin to Cyborg, a little bit like his
Yeah,
dad,
it was
who
it
by
was a
the
com- it
way,
was
oh go ahead, sorry.
mhm. It was a combination of both his comics origin and the New 52 origin. Yeah,
Yeah,
because originally in the comics it was a car crash that maimed him, and instead of like in the New 52 where it was the apocalypse tech, and here they just had it was the mother box that saved him.
yeah. And isn't it funny that his dad, who the actor played him, was the same dude who played um, you know, um, the dude from Terminator 2.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
talk about typecasting.
Oh, oh shit! Cyborg just got he used Skynet to create Cyborg.
Now that would be an interesting crossover, even though there was a Superman versus Terminator comic back in the day.
Yeah.
Actually, I read it, pretty good. Even though I'm just tickled, like a little hilarious. That I'm like, yeah, I honestly doubt that even the most powerful like stuff from the DC universe, or even the Marvel universe, Skynet wouldn't last at least what maybe like wouldn't even last a day. I mean, personally,
Bro- brother, I would make it eat its homework.
hmm, yeah. And one thing I do love about Cyborg's, it showed, it's just this, he really cares for the dad cared for his son, but his son was just angry at him and just saying you weren't there for him, and not only that, you let mom die or whatever, the car accident,
Hmm.
and he just like he looks like a monster, and you see the thing that just helped him, you know, formed this thing here. You're just like, yeah, this was like this. Um, he just sees himself as not as a hero or anything else. He sees himself
A
as
monster.
that. Yeah, again, he's not someone to be looked upon and everything. Even though he
Hmm.
can do good, he helped that poor woman out. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. Hmm. If only the only if he can help hook up, Falcon and such, with that loan and everything, he'd be, in, that would have been actually pretty good for himself. That would actually helped out immensely. But different universes and
Hmm.
all.
Yep. But yeah, there is a lot of humanity in Cyborg's arc, especially with his, with his combination of despair and anger for how he ended up the way he is. I mean, even with and it was especially telling when he was listening to that recording of his father telling him about like different abilities he has now that he's now that he's cyborg. He like the entire internet infrastructure and machines are completely open to him. Like almost no machine can say no to him. It's like he's almost like a god of machinery. So
A legitimate technomancer, as you were.
yeah, yeah, and it happens when he reassembles the tape finish his dad's uh, to finish his dad's message to him at the end.
Hmm. Yeah. Also, I would say Flash as well, and seeing that type of seeing him saving the I think Iris, I believe that was going to be Iris.
I
Um,
Yeah, I don't think they ever confirmed that it was Iris, but it but like the way you can infer it, I guess.
yeah,
Until they actually confirm it.
mm, yeah. Shame that happened to that nice car though, which I was like,
Yeah.
no, not the car. Flash, save the car. You save the girl, but I'll save the car. No, okay, and just take a hot dog there too, because trying to get
Mhm.
a dog's, try to, help
Yeah.
the dog his job or
Yeah,
whatever. And
yeah. You want to give a treat. You want to give a treat for the good doggos. Yeah.
yes, and honestly, he wasn't as I would say annoying as the Wheaton cut. It felt like they had to make him joke. But
They
here,
didn't force the humor.
yeah, it's like he's so he's more um, you know young, but he's like, okay, I know, like, okay, this is what bigger, and he tries to be, not as, you know, he wants to do his best, but he's, with all these like huge, mega, like these huge, like mythological creatures, Wonder Woman, her opening scene, which was really, well, honestly, actually really good. Which I'm like, man, I'm like, it's probably one of the best Wonder Woman opening scenes. I've seen the character since, honestly, since that whole No Man's Land from Wonder Woman
Hmm.
2017, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it is. I'm like, man, that was. Mm. And I just like, it just makes me even mad about Wonder Woman 84 because I'm like, man, that movie could have been really
I
good.
still haven't seen it.
Well, you're not gonna miss much.
Oh man.
But yeah, the way the characterization of Gal Gadot, they use her correctly here,
Hmm.
and just and her using. But I did like the fact she used the gauntlets to block every single shot.
It was a cool
Um,
shot.
yeah, and I really did love the just the using her taking out the explosion, all this other stuff, and taking out the villains as well. Which I don't know if they even have. That's just random to British terrorists. So I
Well,
don't think they have any connection.
could have done without a lot of the slow mo though.
It's a Zack Snyder movie. It's pretty much what it's worth. That's pretty much what it is.
Yeah, I know. Just like it's like you do we have to linger on this for like 30?
All
Do we
right,
have to linger
this
on
is
this
the
for like
race to the finish
another
now.
15 seconds? I mean, it's gonna blow up.
Yeah, but there it is. But the Aquaman footage, which honestly, I would say Aquaman is more despondent here. He's more um, someone who's tough, but has like, I have my own stuff to deal with, and they continue that, that whole, okay, we're not talking underwater stuff, which I did not like.
Yeah, not quite. I mean, I'm not quite a. It's one of those things where it's like, you know, I would assume that that they're able to communicate underwater. They wouldn't just open air bubbles all the time if they want to talk to somebody. Um, but at the same time, it it does like lead into his characterization in the beginning of the Aquaman movie, where he's still kind of like a little more rough around the edges
He
and
does not want
everything,
to
and
be
then
king. He does not want to be associated with the entire thing, and I did like the fact that they had William Defoe's character there, and I'm like, it does connect to Aquaman,
yeah, it does.
and yeah, yeah, and it just I'm hopeful that they will do more with the sequel, which is supposedly coming. And I don't know about y'all. I'm like, how I still am just maybe it's just me, but I'm still like just mystified that somehow Aquaman is $1 billion movie. I'm still mystified by that.
It's, I mean, it's. I had a great time with it.
Me too.
I thought it
Me and
was
my brother
fun.
watched it. It was fun. You know, it was like one of the best superhero movies I've seen. That
It's in my top.
around,
It's in my top three. It's in my top three DCEU movies.
yeah, it's fun. It's interesting. The characters do really well.
Yeah, Jason Momoa's got a ton of charisma.
Yeah, and I'm like, but I was thinking maybe it's gonna be like a 400, 500 mil, not like a bill, a 1 billion. You know,
Yeah,
I just wow. And here's I'm just worried it's gonna be like the sequel comes in, it could be even better, but it won't touch that $1 billion record, which is just gonna be like, well, it's
well,
a failure.
there's a whole well, that's going to be dependent on a whole lot of other factors that really are not relevant to our discussion.
Yeah, but back to the point.
Mhm.
But yeah, all these other characterizations and such were good. Um, but I really did enjoy from the movie. This movie was seeing Aquaman grow into like he likes the group. He was rough, but at
Hmm.
the end of the day, he did join and see that this is this huge issue, and he did join them, and he actually did like them and such. He's
Well,
more, and he grows to like them.
it shows it's basically spelled out in that one scene where right after Cyborg loses his dad, Steppenwolf, and he's trying to locate the last mother box. Uh, Flash and Aquaman are talking, and Aquaman's going, "We're asking." It's like his father just died, and we're asking him to interface with one of the most powerful machines in the universe. And Flash is like, "I thought you didn't care." He said, "I never said I didn't care." There you go. It's pretty
Yeah,
much.
he does. He has his, you know, he's rough, but if you like, hey, you know what, this guy
Mhm.
actually is pretty good. You can, if he rocks with you, he does rock with you and everything. So
Yeah,
that's what.
he's ride or die.
Huh. But well, we gotta look at the other part of it in Superman, and I like Henry Cavill, and I like the way he was portrayed here. But I'm like, I feel like they skipped a little bit of it. I was like, I wish they did more, but I feel like you had to watch Man of Steel, beat Batman vs Superman to really appreciate his character a little bit more, and that could be it. But the way he didn't really speak much, but he showed that he was a powerful force against including against the entire Justice League. Um, when they revived him,
Hmm. Yeah,
which
they did do they did improve that scene somewhat by not having him do the whole not having him do the whole callback to the "Do you bleed" line.
and the really odd CGI fake like the CGI not having his beard there, but
Yeah.
this yeah.
Um, one thing I will say, and I've kind of thought this for a while. I mean, I'm kind of the opinion that Henry Cavill is is at least it has the potential to be a very great Superman. I mean, he
That's
has the look,
bold.
he has the charm.
That's a bold take, man. Because I think he'd be
Well,
good, but
I'm
great.
not, I'm not saying, I'm not saying he's bad.
No.
I'm saying he could be a great Superman, like right up there with Reeve. I just don't think that the material has risen to match his potential. But again, that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I think it is the material, some of it, but hopefully whenever Man of Steel 2 actually does have a thing or whatever, hopefully he can get that material because he really showed that he and uh, you know they do have a really good chemistry. This Superman and Lois have a really good chemistry.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
they just the reminders of home, the reminders of him being that got down home to earth type of character, and to realize that that's what Superman is at the end of the
yeah.
day. He's not this god.
We need more Clark to go with our Superman.
Yeah, and honestly, it's hopeful more Clark with Superman, and also good story, good reporter story there, because I think you could do a
Yeah.
really good job with that as well.
Hmm.
Another thing I did like about it is, you know, when they did do the whole setup for going after, finally going against Steppenwolf, it is the battles with Steppenwolf actually were really good. It showed each team member before then getting some hits in, but he didn't get because getting some stuff in. But at the end of the day, Steppenwolf just is that type of relentless monster. He continues to come back and just hit you harder and harder and harder. The Amazons, I love that first scene when they just um, they tried so hard to take him down, especially the
Hmm.
that whole
Yeah, the
temple.
knocking the building into the ocean.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And he just rised up, and the rest of the parademons kept coming and coming, and he just took the box and he left. Same for the Atlanteans, and even
Hmm.
Aquaman tried to fight him, but he could take hits, and that's what you saw him in the battles is that you had to like, holy crap, this is a threat that you know they're powerful, but maybe they do need Superman to come in and save the day. And before that, the one thing I did like is that whole vision with Cyborg, before they revived him with the mother box, is
Hmm.
that he saw that nightmare sequence of Wonder Woman, looking like she dies in battle, and it's
Yeah.
then you
And
have
Lois and Superman's holding what I assume to be Lois's charred corpse, and Darkseid comforts him or something.
and then the entire world falls,
Yeah.
and that is I don't know if they are going to do something because he says I think one of his he said I think Ray Fisher said that cyborgs like that could be the future. That is a one of many futures if things fail in this situation. If Darkseid does get the anti-life equation, or he manipulates Superman
Mm.
to do, you know, to to um to do the to get him on his side. Because in many comics and many, I think the Superman animated series shows that Superman, you know, he is a very powerful. If he's against you, I believe, like in the anime series, Darkseid does manipulate Superman to attack Earth.
Yeah, yeah, he does in Superman the animated series. I think that was like the series finale of
Yeah,
that version
before Justice League.
before Justice League. Yeah, and the thing is, they tie back into that uh, in they tie back into that later. But um, yeah, it although to be fair, I mean, to be honest, in my opinion, I'm kind of tired of seeing this whole evil Superman thing. I think it's kind of worn out.
Yeah, I mean, it is indeed, because I think it's people have this, you know, thing with Superman. Like, well, he's too powerful. He might turn, can turn, and once he turns, it's more interesting because people have like, they just see Superman, or in another case, like someone like Captain America, is he really relevant? Because like
They
people like
they
that,
don't.
can they be too good? Because
Yeah,
some people are like,
yeah.
they're
It's
too
like
goody too.
oh, go ahead.
They're too goody two shoes. They're like, they're so morally uncompromising to a point that it can hurt that type of like, wow, you know, it's like, man, do I really want to, follow that type of person? Is it that person can exist or something? That sort of thing. It becomes so, cheesy and everything. And even, I would say, even Captain America in some aspect too, because I mean, even before Civil War and such, Captain America had Winter Soldier did fine, but it wasn't the biggest blockbuster. It's like he's good, but does he have that? They're like, some would say, okay, he's a little too good. He's a little too perfect. Same with Superman and such. They just
Well,
it just becomes too perfect, and that's why people like to see them turn to the dark side. They like to see this character have that type of dirt on them.
I don't I don't think it's. I'm not sure that it's more they want to see them turn evil. I think it's more they just want to see that they can make mistakes, that they are still mortal. And I think uh, following Captain America, Winter Soldier into Civil War, you see that because Steve, for all his moral righteousness, still makes mistakes. He still has flaws. Uh, you know, whether it could be his stubbornness to not be completely upfront about Bucky killing Tony's parents, whether it's just being completely pigheaded and not trying to meet Tony halfway with the whole thing, or what have you. It showed that he is indeed human, and the thing is and it was and going back further into like the first Avenger, Erskine had said that the formula only brings out more of what you already are. So Steve had this moral compass pretty much from the beginning. So it's he's essentially who he's always been, and also another good thing is that he recognized his mistake. He recognized how his actions affected Tony and affected himself and affected Bucky, and he apologized for making the mistake. And with Superman, I think I think they should also try and do that as well with him, because not to make him evil, but realize that even with all his great powers and his abilities, he's still mortal. He's still fallible. Like, he can't be everywhere at once. Like, I mean, take Superman the movie, for instance, when Pa Kent dies of a heart attack. I mean, he's at his adopted father's funeral, and he says, all these great powers, and I can't save him. So it's like, it's a kind of humility and humbling that doesn't turn you evil, but reminds you that as great as you can, as great as you are, and as much as you can do, you still have limits, and it's how you deal it, and you can still fail, and it's what you do with that failure. It's what you do with that, with the knowledge of those limitations, that make your character, that make you someone that people look up to. I hope I'm making some sense.
Well, yeah, it's just like that humility and grace that, people can say, yeah, they can mess up and make things, they can't save everyone. And that's something I think Man still really screwed up. They should have had, Pa Kent. I know what he was trying to say, that, oh, like these gifts can be a blessing, but it also people can take advantage of you.
Uh,
Don't be taken advantage of. Which,
yeah, yeah, I
and then have him die by that tornado, which
they,
is,
yeah. The thing is, I did not like the way they did Pa Kent in that movie, in Man of Steel. I
yeah,
mean, especially with the tornado, I'm thinking like, you know what, Clark, have him be pissed off at you. Go save him.
yeah. And the one thing he should have done, I think they should have, is have more scenes that, what are you saying? You, of course, you're my son. I like more of that. Like he cares
Hmm.
about him. He does all that stuff, and then have him like die, not off screen, but let's have him have that heart
Ha-
attack. And
you know what I would have done in that scene? I would have had Clark save Pa, but then have him have the heart attack right there.
yeah, that would have been a, and he tried to go, and he tried to save him, but he's still, I don't say he's still learning or whatever the powers, but he
Yeah.
goes and tries to save him, but yet the heart attack happens, and
Hmm.
that would just, I don't, that honestly would, like, even after all this stuff, I still can't save him.
Yeah.
That right there, and I think that to me would have been a better, um, it would have been better scene, because I think that I don't. They really did some missteps. Even though I do enjoy Man of Steel, I enjoy it. Same thing as Batman v Superman, and from this movie as well, is that Superman is someone who can be that type of moral, and tries to be moral and was humble, but also makes mistakes as well. So, but yet the thing is, you can over rely on him as well. So
Yeah.
that's the whole situation with there as well.
Hmm.
And I did like the black suit. I did like him getting the black suit. I think he doesn't. I don't know the. It's like for comics, but I think he's like the reason why he's wearing it. I think because he's still probably mourning. I think his death or something, or he just doesn't feel worthy of wearing that type of suit
I
again.
I I think I think I read someone saying like it's supposed to be it's supposed to be some kind of solidarity in mourning of his passing, but like Doom, but honestly, I think it's the same as like having Doomsday in there, having Doomsday kill Superman. That it's there as comic fan service, but it's not necessary.
Yeah, or if they was gonna make it necessary, make it um,
Throw
add a reason why to saying that okay, he's not 100% back yet.
yeah,
Say that he
throw
needs
in
more.
throw in a line that says this is a special Kryptonian suit that helps me absorb solar radiation. There it's like five. It's like 5-6 seconds of exposition. Boom, you're done.
Yeah, That's what you have to do, and that would have been better. But I did like the ending battle scene of. It took everyone to fight against Steppenwolf, and it looked like everything was you know all was done. But yet Superman comes in, little freeze breath, and took him down and such, which is good.
It just kind of slaps him around.
Yeah, and
Um,
that's why I think he didn't want to show up, because I think that actually ties in to the reason why they didn't want to show up the first time, because they know the Kryptonian was there, and it's like, yeah, Steppenwolf is like, we can't really go anywhere near this type of deal, because yeah, as powerful Steppenwolf is, he's no way he can take him down, and
yeah,
Kurt,
yeah,
yeah, and then them all beating up Steppenwolf, and I think Wonder Woman cuts one of
yeah,
his horns off.
yeah. No, no. I think she cuts his head off.
No,
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 no.
before
That
that.
comes later. Yeah, she
No, no,
chops.
wait. I
Yeah,
don't wait. No, no. It was Superman who burnt
yeah. Superman
his.
burns one of his horns off, and then the mother boxes unite, and Flash has to
Yeah, and
has to pull a Barry and run back in time.
yeah, well, yeah, I did like that. It felt like the whole group was needed. Every single one
Yeah,
is needed. Everyone, the heavies, Superman, Wonder Woman, and
Cyborg.
Aquaman stop him. Cyborg, the mother boxes, Batman, Private Cutter taking down, parademons and such with this
Yeah,
nice little energy suit, whatever. Which
yeah,
I liked. I like that one. I like that. But and Barry, running, getting enough speed to have the energy for Cyborg to hack into them, and it was really good. And he just ran as fast as he could, even though the running was a little bit off. You
yeah.
know,
I was just wondering. It's like he's run. It's like the way he's running is like swinging his arms out and everything. I'm just thinking, I I don't think I've ever seen anyone run like that.
yeah, I felt like that was a Josh Whedon thing, but no, it was there, and I'm like, it was a little bit better, but man, I
Um,
was like, ugh.
I will say this. I did think that that Barry running, literally running backwards. Well, not literally running backwards, but like going back in time and everything reforming under his feet. It was a really was was a really good visual spectacle to see everyone
Yeah,
like reforming like their bones and muscles reforming, so he could uh, so that he could touch Cyborg with the lightning to get him uh, to sink,
separate the mother
yeah, separate the
boxes
mother boxes.
and have that great scene as well about saying he's like, we can fix you, you're not, and he's like, no, I'm not broken, and
Yeah.
then he separates them, and
Hmm.
and then bam, and closes off. And I did like the end of, like, he had Steppenwolf try to show up, like, get stabbed by the quadruple forked trident of Aquaman, and I
Yeah.
still can't believe that. I was like, yeah, that thing. I'm glad they got the golden trident in Aquaman the movie,
Hmm.
because I'm like, yeah, that looks so much better.
Yeah.
and and actually, it made the suit look really good too. And also, I was thought that one wasn't gonna cut off his head. I thought he was gonna cut off the horn, but like, now you, I just got Power STD, SPD, and I'm like, you would have cut the other
The other
horn
horn
off.
off.
Said, now you match, and just let him go with no horns to Darkseid, where he just like, the Omega Beam just blast him right there.
No,
But you know what?
no. She
That
just
fits.
went full on decapitation. Just, just let me take a little off the top. Chop.
Yep, chop, and that was it. And Darkseid just like crushed it and just looked right to them, like,
Hmm.
he was like, you. Oh, I was like, okay. all right, we're gonna roll up the old-fashioned way. Get the whole thing up. Yeah, Desaad, who's like, I told you that. Yeah, I told you that man was stupid. I told you you didn't need him, and such, and try to really punish, but yet say,
Mm-hmm.
not to piss him off, and it's like what Desaad usually does. And he's
Yeah,
like, and also Granny Goodness was there too, which
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
I wish they can just hurry up with the new god. So I want to see the Furies and everything. That
yeah,
character,
yeah. I'm curious as to who they'll cast for that.
I'm still, Granny Goodness. Now that's an old woman. That's an old woman that needs to be just punched over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, just that, cause yeah, I want to see that, cause I want to see how that comes in, and I don't know what they're going to do, if this thing comes, cause a lot of people love the whole thing, yeah, but yeah, your thoughts on the whole epilogue stuff, cause I like the epilogue stuff all the way up to the Jesse Eisenberg stuff with I was like, oh god, this dude. And of
Yeah.
course, he escaped Arkham Asylum because
Yeah.
at this point, just have a rotating goddamn door. Because
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
It's like patients there check out as much as the freaking orderlies do.
yeah, the
Um.
Joker could just like, yeah, hey, like this, uh, like, hey, Joker, bye, Joker, just
It's,
you know,
it's like
Two
yeah. It's like
Face will
yeah. I'll
walk
see.
in,
It's like yeah. I'll see you later, there, Poison Ivy.
yeah, just that no one cares, no one cares at all. It's just
Um.
yeah, ah,
Yeah.
gosh,
The epilogue stuff. Yeah. The Lex Luthor Deathstroke stuff. I didn't really care for. Uh. Honestly, I didn't even care for the nightmare sequence either.
yeah, I look a little too long, and people say the best Joker in Batman. I'm like, no, 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 no,
No,
no, no,
no, no,
calm
no.
down. I would
You are not touching. It's like that does not even come close to like say Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill.
not come close to the Dark Knight with Heath Ledger and Christian
Yeah,
Bale. I'm
yeah,
like, people
exactly.
need to calm down. I think people are just so shocked to see Jared Leto not in that horrific type of all the tattoos and
Yeah.
the damage thing. I'm like,
Even
and
then,
actually sound
even
like the Joker. It was
I
like
mean,
the lowest.
even then it was a marginal improvement.
Yeah. And by the way, here's something I never, I'm always interested in the live action Jokers. They never, I mean, other than like say the Batman '89, they never had like that flat top or whatever of like the animated series, Joker or
Yeah.
whatever. It's always like long hair, straggling haired out. It's like they make him like this, like they make the Joker like this burnt out, like
Yeah,
trying so hard to be a hippie.
it's like they try to make him this completely cracked out and methed out guy when when the thing is the more interesting looks about the Joker are when he's wearing like the fine suits and like the spats, like like the Cesar Romero Joker, or like the Joker from like the Denny O'Neil comics, or
Batman
even
'89.
yeah, Batman '89, yeah, Jack Nicholson's Joker. I mean, why not have him like that? I mean, yes, he's an
No,
agent. Yes, he's an agent of chaos. Doesn't mean he has to look like shit.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. He knows how to clean up. Man, for all the stuff Joker's done, like, yeah, at least he knows how to wear a suit.
Yeah. Also the whole idea is like, oh, Batman said fucking. It's like, and
Really?
I'm just sitting here making the hand jerk motion. It's like, oh, come on, seriously.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Um. As but there was and there is another scene, although this ties into another scene earlier in the movie, and that's Martian Manhunter revealing himself to Bruce. To Bruce.
Which he just doesn't even care. He's like, sure, what's up? How you doing?
Yeah,
I love that. I
yeah.
love it.
It's like it's like I mean, he already knows aliens exist, so it's like Martians, sure, okay. Um, although I will say this, and this kind of ties into a larger point I have about about his appearances here. Martian Manhunter did not need to be in this movie at all.
Yeah, he should have came in maybe later and such, but I understand what they tried to do, and I wish he was more implemented because he is the heart of the
It, it
league.
was it was the thing is it was fan service. It was just
Yeah, it was
it
pure
was
fan
it was
service.
pure fan service. For no real good reason. Um, uh, and on top of that, like when he was telling Bruce, like I'm, it's like I'm here to help. I'm thinking, well, where the fuck were you in Russia?
Well, I mean, well, he has an army guy, so he has to do everything else.
Paid for
Tell,
by
tell him
all.
tell him you're taking a leave of absence. Tell him you're sick. Tell him you have fucking COVID or something.
Yeah, they'll just say, whatever. But I'm like, it's so. I wish. I truly wish that they could have done more with him because I think he would have been a great help
Yeah,
and such. And I hope what they do somehow I would love to see. I don't know if you can make a movie just about him alone because, I mean,
I think you could.
I know, but it's just like, who is his villains other than the White Martians?
Well, you probably don't even have to make it about like uh make it about that. You could have him just it's like you could have him just like going into his early days of arriving on Earth,
Yeah,
and him having to adjust and like say starting out as a police detective, like he does in the comics. Like
yeah,
he takes over the persona of John Jones, police detective, and he starts trying to solve crimes. Some of the more odd ones.
yeah.
Um, but to go back to a scene earlier, uh, there was a scene where Martha and Lois are talking about how Lois hasn't really, you know, left her apartment or really done anything. She hasn't gone back to work since Superman died, and and really, and not to put too fine a point in it, but I really didn't like how they had Lois literally waiting for Superman for the first
Well,
for the first 2 hours of the movie. I mean,
I get that though because
I
it's
mean,
just
I get why they did it, but it just feels like a waste.
I
Um,
know, but I think when you lose someone you love, it's not like um, you just go back and to get back in the saddle. Say, oh, I got to go do this, but it would have maybe fit her character if she did that, bury herself in the work and burying herself in that sort of situation. But
yeah,
she,
in fact, I think it would have. In fact, I think it would have been a little bit interesting if she had been burying herself in her work to the point where where Martha basically had to force had to like come see her in person to talk to her about everything. But
to
like she
say,
does,
okay,
like she does in this version. But they have this really beautiful scene where you have Diane Lane and Amy Adams acting off each other. They're really doing really well in the performance. And Martha is talking about how hard it is for her not to not to point to Superman and say that's my son. That's my son, and I'm so proud of him for for what he's accomplished and for the people he's saved. It's kind of this mourning in secret, this grieving in secret that her and Lois are the only ones who can do and the only ones who understand what each other's going through. And I thought that was a very beautiful, touching scene. And then when it's revealed that it wasn't Martha, but it was Martian Manhunter, it was John. I was like, "You son of a bitch! You you
yeah,
com- you completely undercut that scene. You completely undermined it." It's like,
yeah. I
oh,
was like,
that just pissed me
that
off.
should have been the real version. And in fact, they could have fixed that right there, as you could have him coming through to work and just be like, walking in, be like, the general be like, um, oh, excuse me, ma'am, what are you doing here? It's like, oh, I was going to talk to Miss Lois about stories. She could just say, she's taking off, and he could have just left and be like, hmm, and he could have a little bit of a smirk and be like, finally, you know, that sort of thing, and walk off. That would have been a better scene.
Or or again, you could have just ended it right as they were finishing up their conversation, and not have him there at all. I mean, I get why he would consider Lois to be important to everything. But this is before they were trying to resurrect Superman. So and and there's no way of knowing if he knew they were going to try to resurrect Superman. So it's like John, what were you going for here? Like were you just trying to? I mean, if that's the case, you could have just showed up as Perry White.
Well, that would have made sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you had this really lovely scene here. You had this really lovely scene, and these people talking about their grief, and opening up to each other, and then you basically cut the legs out from under it.
Yeah, but I know I can see some people do enjoy that scene. But yeah, the whole Martian Manhunter thing, which would, you know, does undercut that part. But I do, again, Superman does come back, and I don't know what they're gonna do with him. Hopefully, they bring back that red. And I don't know if they're gonna bring that to Trunks in the movies, which I don't know how they're gonna do that since the comics brought it back, and I think
I
I
think
see some.
I think they should. I think. I mean, in my personal opinion, the outfit is not complete without the trunks.
Yeah,
But
I agree
that's just
too.
me though.
So yeah, I think it's gonna come. I think that's what's gonna happen come in the future, and I'm surprised by how successful it looks like to be. The entire Snyder cut is. Um, I I didn't think it was gonna get people shut. Like I didn't think some parts of people saying HBO Max shut down to watch. First I'm like, wow, I'm
I
surprised by it,
I
and two,
I'm a little skeptical about that, but
yeah, but I heard it actually some places like I think they over in like in Asia and some places like they try to order like since they're ordering it and everything and some websites shut down. I'm like, okay, a lot of thoughts on that, but the one main thing is like it is 2021 and I'm like we still have this issue. I'm like
well,
I thought.
well,
Hmm.
there's really no way to tell how much money it made.
No, I'm just talking about the shutdown of like
Oh
the
yeah,
internet
the
sites.
shutdown on everything is like, yeah, there's honestly there's really no way to know how it would have done at
Financially,
there's no way to tell how it would have done financially, especially if you were going to stick with the 4 hour running time.
which would hurt people. I think it would have hurt
Yeah.
people because if it would, but I would say the Snyder Cut does introduce, I think Roy Child, Adam,
Brian Choi, yeah.
expand, yeah, and such. Part of me wishes that I know DC has this whole, I don't know what it is, but I truly wish, in my heart of hearts, that they could have just started the whole DCAU with the JSA and then started with something like that because there's so much legacy characters, so much of that type of history, and
I'd love a Justice Society movie.
yeah, and the best we have is like Supergirl. They're and they're respecting that type of past. But I would love, truly love to have a movie based on the JSA. And talk. To have these characters. Like I heard there's gonna be an Hour Man movie, which that's
Well,
gonna be fun.
I,
But
well, I think there's going to be an animated Justice Society movie coming out sometime in the future.
hmm, but yeah, I just hope that this stuff will continue. I hope that there will be something like that because I just imagine instead of Wonder Woman 84, they could have had like an adventure with Wonder Woman and the JSA coming in and just taking, like, I don't know, some evil doers out, because she was a member, right? I
Um,
think.
yeah, yes, she was. I mean, but then
Oh
that
wait, she
goes
was a.
into that
Go ahead.
goes into the whole thing about like the multiverse and everything, because it's like it's all tied into the multiverse and whatnot. So
Oh yeah, I remember.
yeah, so
Oh, I
it's
remember her. Wasn't she the secretary?
something like that.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was it was the 40s and
Bigger than
50s,
guns.
unfortunately. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, they I'd love a live action Justice Society movie, like say focus on older heroes who are like trying to get back into the game a little bit because like there's something that's only only
See
they
them at
can
their
deal with.
prime, and I honestly would love to see a Blue Beetle type of legacy. Originally Dan Garrett, that type of stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
Maybe have him
you
show up.
go ahead.
Yeah, show him up, and then you have the, Ted Kord Blue Beetle, and hopefully you won't have,
Jaime Reyes.
he'll have a better, yeah, than Jaime Reyes. Then I just hope Ted Kord goes out with a better showing than what he did in the whole Rotten Hell, the Lord stuff, Maxwell
Yeah,
Lord, which I don't know why they turned him to a villain anyway. Uh, but that's
I'm not.
that's another
Yeah,
rant.
yeah, I'm not sure about. Yeah, I'm not sure about that either. But um, the thing is, I would hope that if they that any future DCU movies would embrace different visions, like, and not have it just be one person's singular thing, because some people are talking about like have Zack Snyder do all of the DC movies or something. Like,
No,
no,
no, no, no, no,
it's
no,
like,
no.
no,
I
no, no,
think,
no, 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 don't do that.
I think he shouldn't. First off, I think it should be a plan. Of course, I don't want someone being too radical, saying one person does the same thing and does I want continuity. That's what DC
Hmm.
movies need right now. They need some continuity here. They need some continuity, and I think the best way to do that, the best way to do it, best way to continuity is having Patty Jenkins and having the first people behind Aquaman and people behind Shazam work and sit and talk like how they're going to connect to these stories, how are they going to do something a master painting and everything. I think if you had something like that,
Yeah, if
um,
you have like a collaboration, like a sharing of ideas and everything, but also not have it to where you have to watch this, and this in order to
yeah.
understand this, or we can't have you do this in this movie because we need them for this down the line. So yeah, it's like it's like you have to have them like tangentially tied together, but not so much that they can't stand on their own.
Oh yes, I agree. Um, I think that these movies, that most of the DC I would love is that I love about it is the majority stay on their own. Wonder Woman stands on their own. Aquaman stands on its own. You know,
Birds of
and
Prey
the
stand on
rest of the
their own.
movies,
Shazam stands on its own.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I can't wait for the stuff that's coming down the pike. Hopefully, the new version of Green Lantern, which hopefully they have a decent suit this time. Um, Also, Zatanna.
Hmm.
The new Aquawoman show, and I think There's gonna be something for Aquawoman, I believe. The show I think that's HBO Max is gonna connect to Aquaman too. Maybe I don't know,
Hmm.
but there's gonna be some other stuff coming down the pike. I can't wait to see. But overall, though, I did like I said. I think this thing really, really got like something like people are like watching and rewatching and really enjoying this movie. And I honestly hope that the people, Zack Snyder, if he's done with superhero movies, I get it. Like he just goes away for a while, um, and with superheroes and such. But I think he
Let him
wants to
do
do
whatever he
more.
wants.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like if he wants to do his
and
own movies, in the
I did get
future.
another
Yeah.
one's like Netflix, like him doing the Army of the Dead, which is
Right. I think he also wants to do like some. I think he wants to adapt Ayn Rand, the
no,
Fountainhead.
he's working on the Fountainhead, and he said actually in one thing he would love to actually to do a movie if it was in the MCU. He said he would love to do something with Elektra, which I'm like, you know what? It can't be any worse than the last movie Elektra was in.
It would only. Well, it'll only be an improvement. Um, but I mean, again, like I said at the beginning, I mean, there's plenty to like in Zack Snyder's Justice League cut. I just think that like a lot of it's like I think he had a tendency to overindulge on some of his on some of his peculiarities, like the slow motion, like everything being in slow motion for as long as it does. Like it's like overdrawn, like it's overly drawn out. Like the supposed like the epic singing and everything in every every scene, to make sure that we know this is important. And
Yeah,
and
that's
again,
what
the
someone
stuff.
should have came in and said, okay, you know what? This didn't need to be 4 hours, but we could just cut some here, cut there, keep some of the stuff here. It might be like 3 hours and 30 minutes at the end of the day, but it would probably you could have cut a lot of stuff from here, and I think it would have been a lot more a better film and a more of a tighter film than what we had in the Josh Whedon Justice League.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just go ahead and say it. You don't even need the epilogue.
Yeah, you just cut that right off there.
You can cut all of that out. You can cut out Martian Manhunter. You can cut out the Lex Luthor Deathstroke stuff. You can cut out the future sequence with the Joker and whatnot. You can trim down. You can cut one of Steppenwolf's discussion with the Zod. You can cut down some of the slow motion. You could I mean, you could probably like trim. You could probably trim a couple of minutes here and there on certain scenes, but uh, but I mean, overall, it's like again, yeah, it didn't need to be 4 hours, you know, and especially if you were trying to put this in theaters, oh my God, you wouldn't be. I mean, it's like you wouldn't have as many viewings as you'd basically be forcing other movies out of the theaters because they would be too preoccupied with jamming the movie into as many theaters as possible, which would like again throw other movies out, which is kind of unfair.
Well, yeah, that's so much true, and I'm hopeful that with this type of I'm hopeful with all of the positive attention and such. Um, maybe this will get someone out there to actually push a brand new, some good good movies down the pipe for DC, and some good stuff all around. You know, and honestly, one thing I really did like is that movie that they did have more minority characters and more people in there, black, especially Cyborg, Raichal, and Iris, I believe. But I wish they could. I honestly wish that I would love to see an Avengers movie where the black character was actually the focus, because majority of them were, you know,
Yeah, I know.
just I'm like, I mean, come on, man. If Black Panther, the only
Yeah,
thing he was used for was just, oh, he has a big army. Okay. That's what it is, and I wish they could have
yeah,
more of that. I'm like, yeah, but maybe the next one they actually will do that
yeah.
and
Like
actually
maybe
fits with.
like next Avengers movie if they have one, maybe Falcon will be one of the main characters.
Yeah, or maybe they might do something with the other characters. Maybe
Yeah.
you know Kamala Khan,
Hmm.
maybe She-Hulk, or someone like I don't know. People hate her, or whatever, but Captain Marvel. You know,
Oh yeah,
just
or
you know,
Monica Rambeau, Photon.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I
there's a
mean,
lot of
there's a lot there's a lot of different and diverse characters that you can focus on and tell really good stories with. You know, they just have to have the gumption to do it.
yeah. That's what you know. That's what it is. So uh, yeah, that's pretty much my hope. And hopefully my hope is that you guys, gals, and everyone else listening had a good time with this lovable podcast here. Thanks again for watching, by the way, and hear us ranting.
Hmm.
Thanks, Jeff, for just sticking with me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
No problem. This is Duke C. Tier. Peace and love. I'll see y'all when I see y'all later.